Hey everyone, Bond here from Dr. Pennsylvania. We have a new series for you called Past Periodicals. This one comes from the Pittsburgh Press, July 1st, 1911. As always, we love to hear your thoughts on these shows, so don't forget to give us a like over at Facebook at Dr. Pennsylvania, or you can always drop us a line at drpennsylvania@gmail.com.
Armed posses are hunting for Erie, PA bandits. Mass desperados are still at large. Officers of city and state police forces and scores of farmers scouring country for hold-up-men's lair. 45,000 in cash taken by robbers is report. Erie, PA, July 1st. The bold bandits who held up the express train number 41, running from Emporium Junction to Erie over the Pennsylvania lines, Philadelphia and Erie Division, late last night, and who shot and injured 2 members of the crew and wounded a third with a rock, were still at large this morning. Every available police officer from the city forces has been put out on the case. The state police of the county have been called out, and scores of farmers have formed posses and, armed with shotguns and revolvers, are scouring the surrounding country, but no trace of the desperados has been found. It was reported that $45,000 in cash had been stolen by the train robbers. James Carroll and Walter Mooney, 2 suspects, were arrested 1 mile east of Erie this morning by local police. It is not thought, however, that the arrests are important. The holdup occurred 5 miles east of the city at 5 Mile Curve at 10 o'clock last night. Police officers who have visited the scene of the holdup are of the opinion the desperados planned to hurl the train over the bluff down an almost perpendicular embankment into the creek bed 200 feet below. The gully borders the track at the outer curve, and had the train been going but a little faster, nothing could have prevented its going over, carrying with it the 6 coaches filled with passengers. The obstruction of ties and poles was placed just right to have caused such a disaster had the train been going at any speed. As soon as the shooting began, H.D. Hart, express manager, and C.H. Block, mail clerk, rushed to each end of the car and locked the doors. Some of the robbers went to the front of the mail car, breaking the glass, and began firing through the opening. Battled with bandits. Hart, placing under his coat some small registered packages and, it is alleged, $5,000 in currency, started for the rear door, believing that he might be able to get away in that direction and thereby save the valuables. When he opened the rear door, he found Conductor Rooney, who had secured a revolver from a man in the smoking car, fighting a short-range battle with 2 of the bandits. He jumped from the car and, picking up rocks, stood by the conductor until the robbers had emptied the chambers of their revolvers at them. Just after he had thrown the first rock, he felt a stinging pain in his right leg near his thigh, but he was so excited that he did not realize that he was shot, and with the plucky conductor continued the unequal battle until the bandits ran into the darkness. Mr. Hart's wound is an ugly one. It is thought the bullet passed entirely through the fleshy part, as there was no indication that it was lodged in the leg. Charles Bennis, brakeman, and G.E. Bernbaker, baggage master on the train, went through the fuselage without being injured. The engine cab end of the mail car were many bullet holes made by bullets of the bandits. W.H. Lewis of 118 East 10th Street was on the rear of the train. He told a thrilling story of the holdup. He said, "I was half asleep in the car when the train was stopped by a sudden jolt, as though we had hit an obstruction. I heard a shot fired and opened the window of the coach. Just then I heard another shot and a bullet blazed past my head. Just as I projected my head out of the window, I faced a huge revolver, and a coarse voice cried, 'Stick your head in that window or I will fill you full of holes.' The man was about 6 feet 2 inches tall and looked like a foreigner. The bandits didn't attempt to enter the car, and I'm glad they didn't, for I had a large sum of money with me." Conductor a hero. C.A. Bell, manager of the Radiant Ray Polishing Company of Erie, was one of the first passengers to alight from the train. As he got out of the car, he saw a conductor running forward with a revolver in his hand and shooting in the darkness. The conductor was alone and was facing the bandits single-handed. He said there must have been at least 100 shots fired and that the bullets were flying all around him. He said he saw 3 bandits and that they looked to be foreigners. He saw one of the robbers who had been hit by a bullet fall down and roll down the embankment. H.C. Cullum, a salesman of New York City, was a passenger in the rear coach. He heard a shot fired shortly after the train came to a stop. He opened the window and projected his head, but no sooner had he done so than 2 bullets grazed his head. He quickly withdrew, and when he heard shot after shot, he left the car. Just as he stepped down the lower step to the ground, another bullet whizzed past his head. He kept close to the train and started for the front. He could see the conductor fighting single-handed. He saw 3 bandits, all foreigners, he claimed. One of the robbers stopped to reload his gun, and as he did so, Cullum took after him. He was a small man with a slouch hat pulled down over his face. Cullum grabbed him, and a short tussle followed, Cullum claiming to have the best of him until the bullets got so thick that he retreated to the car, where he found the woman in a panic. Woman heroine aids wounded. Brakeman C.F. Bemis today gave the following description of the holdup while lying in his cot in the hospital. We were on time and had reached the Eagle Curve coming into Erie, where there was a crash. I ran through a coach to reach the front, and as I got outside the door, a man with a black mask over his face dealt me a blow on the temple. I tried to come back with another masked man shot at me. The bullet struck my arm and I fell. Then they kicked me off the platform. I tried to get up, but I was stunned. I lay there dazed. I heard women shouting and passengers shouting. I heard Conductor Rooney cry out and thought they had killed him. The robbers kept up a steady fire. They were in the cars only a few minutes when they headed off towards the forest, shooting as they went. I was picked up, and a woman, who was the only heroine in the car, tore up a skirt and bandaged my arm. Acting Captain of the detectives Richard Kelly has instructed the Pittsburgh Detective Force to keep a sharp outlook for Erie train robber suspects, believing they are just as likely to have come towards this city as in any direction.